The story is titled, My Sister-in-Law Announced Her Pregnancy at My Wife's Funeral. She looked at me and said, At least one good thing is happening today. I banned her from the service and cut the entire family off. Now they're blowing up my phone saying I'm ruining the vibe. I was staring at the lid of my wife's coffin when my sister-in-law decided the day needed good news. The stupidest details are what I remember. The way the lilies on the casket already looked tired. The crease in my black tie that Lauren, 32, female, would have smoothed out with a laugh. The funeral program crushed in my fist. The paper soft from being folded and unfolded 100 times in the last hour. My name is Jake, 34, male. A week ago I was a husband. Today I was the widower in the front row while people I barely knew told stories about my wife into a squeaky microphone. Lauren's family packed the church. Her mom, Diane, 59, female, was a statue of mascara and clenched jaw. Her dad, Mark, 61, male, kept polishing his glasses like he could wipe this reality off them. And then there was her younger sister, Brittany, 29, female. Brittany has always been a lot. The kind of person who cries at her own birthday party because someone else's outfit is too attention-grabbing. Loud laugh, louder opinions, and somehow every family event rotated around whatever emotional crisis she was having that week. Engagement party? She got drunk and announced her breakup. Our wedding? She accidentally wore white and sobbed in the bathroom because people thought she was the bride. Lauren used to roll her eyes and say, It's just Brit being Brit. She doesn't know how to not be the main character. I used to think it was annoying but harmless. Then Lauren's car got T-boned by a truck that ran a red light on her way home from a night shift. One second she was texting me a picture of a stupid gas station snack. Next second, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize and a nurse asking if I was her emergency contact. 7 days. That's how long it took to go from she's stable but critical to there's nothing more we can do. I signed papers with hands that didn't feel like mine, took off her wedding ring in ICU while the machines went quiet, and watched the light leave the only person who ever made me feel like home. So I was sitting there, hollowed out, listening to the pastor talk about God's plan, when I heard Brittany's heels click up the aisle. She took the mic without asking, sniffling, one hand on her stomach, the other patting her perfectly curled hair. I know today is really sad, she started, voice shaking just enough to sound rehearsed. But I feel like Lauren would want us to remember that life goes on, that new blessings are coming. I felt a flicker of dread before my brain caught up. I'm pregnant, she blurted, smiling through fake tears. Gasps, phones up, a couple of, oh my God, Brit, from the back. Then she turned her head, looked straight at me and said, clear as a bell, At least one good thing is happening today. Something in me snapped so clean it was almost quiet. For a second, nobody moved. Her words just hung there above the flowers and flickering candles, like smoke after an explosion. I heard a chair creak behind me, somebody cough, the faint buzz of someone's phone still recording. Then time slammed back into me. I stood up so fast my knee cracked against the pew. The funeral program dropped out of my hand and fluttered to the floor. Brittany was still staring at me with this weird, expectant little smile, like I was supposed to clap, like this was a gender reveal and not my wife's actual funeral. Get out, I said. It came out low and hoarse. My throat was raw from not crying. Brittany blinked. What? I stepped into the aisle. I could feel everyone watching, like the air had turned into 100 tiny eyes. Get out! My voice came out louder that time, echoing off the church ceiling. Diane half rose from her seat. Jake, honey, she didn't mean… The hell I didn't, Brittany snapped, clutching the mic tighter. Her cheeks were flushing blotchy red. I'm trying to bring some hope into this. Lauren would have been excited, okay? She loved babies. She would have wanted to know, she's dead, I shot back. The word felt like glass in my mouth. She doesn't get to know anything. Because she died. And you decided that her funeral was your stage. There was this sharp inhale from the front row. Mark muttered, Jake, take it easy. Like I was the problem. Brittany's eyes filled instantly with tears, her favorite prop. Wow. Okay, so I'm the villain because I wanted to share my happy news with the family? This day is not just about you, Jake. I laughed, actually laughed. It sounded wrong in the room, ugly and broken. It is about her. I said, pointing at the coffin. My hand was shaking so hard I had to curl it into a fist. It is about my wife, not you, not your uterus, not your Instagram announcement you couldn't wait 24 hours for. I walked up to her, close enough to smell her perfume. Too sweet, too bright. I wrapped my hand around the microphone stand and yanked it out of her grip. She held on for a second and the whole stand tipped. It crashed into the floral arrangement at the front, knocking over a vase. Water splashed across the carpet and over the framed photo of our wedding they'd set by the casket. The glass spiderwebbed with a loud crack. People actually gasped. The picture, Lauren laughing with cake on her nose, was now sliced through with white veins of broken glass. Something in my chest twisted. An usher hurried forward, hands up. "Let me help." "No," I said, not taking my eyes off Brittany. "She's leaving, now." Brittany's face crumpled. Then the switch flipped. "I'm pregnant," she shrieked, loud enough that it bounced off the stained glass. "You can't treat me like this. I could lose the baby from stress." "Then walk slower," I snapped. "But you're walking out." She turned to the crowd, wide-eyed, fishing for allies. "Are you guys hearing this? He's attacking a pregnant woman at his wife's funeral." Nobody moved. A couple of cousins suddenly found the floor very interesting. Diane looked like she wanted the ground to swallow her. The usher gently took Brittany's elbow. She jerked away, knocking into the stand again. Another vase went over, lilies and water scattering at my feet, soaking into my shoes. She pointed at me with a shaking finger. "You're going to regret this, Jake. You're ruining this family." I felt weirdly calm. "There is no family," I said. "Not anymore. Get out." They finally got her moving, heels slipping on wet carpet as she sobbed and wailed all the way down the aisle, the sound dragging behind her like a siren. While our guests sat frozen in their pews, watching my wife's photo drip and crack at the front of the church, I realized something with absolute clarity. Whatever pieces of my life were left after losing Lauren, I was done letting Brittany smash those too. Update. Later that night, I didn't expect this to blow up. I posted because I couldn't sleep and my house still smelled like Lauren's shampoo and my brain was replaying Brittany's voice on a loop. Reading strangers say, "No, that was messed up," weirdly made me feel less insane. So, thanks, I guess. A lot of you asked what happened after I told her to leave. The pastor kind of cleared his throat and tried to drag things back on script, but the energy was dead. Half the crowd was staring at the broken photo frame. Someone had propped it back up, but there was this crack right through Lauren's smile like a lightning bolt. I couldn't look at it without feeling like I'd failed her in one more way. After the service, Diane cornered me in the side room where they had the coffee and stale cookies. She shut the door a little too hard. "Jake, what you did to your sister-in-law was unacceptable." I just stared at her. "What she did to your daughter was fine, though." "She was sharing happy news," Diane snapped. "This family needed something good. You made a scene." "I made a scene?" My voice went weirdly high. "She used my wife's funeral like an audition tape, Diane. She literally said, 'At least one good thing is happening today.'" Diane flinched, like hearing it back made it worse. But she doubled down. "She's hormonal. You don't understand what pregnancy does to a woman's emotions. You should apologize. Maybe we can redo the reception tomorrow with a better vibe." That word, vibe. Like Lauren's death was a bad party playlist. Something in me iced over. "Brittany is banned from the graveside service," I said. "If she shows up, I leave. If you support that, I'll see you there. If you don't, stay home." Her eyes went cold. "You don't get to dictate this family's—" "I'm not your family anymore," I cut in. "My family is in that coffin." I walked out before she could answer. Since then, my phone has turned into a grenade. Texts from cousins I haven't talked to in years. "You really hurt Britt today. Everyone's saying you ruined the vibe." Lauren wouldn't want this drama. One actually wrote, "Be happy for the baby." It's like Lauren sent a piece of herself back to you. No, she didn't. Lauren is gone. A baby does not fix that. Especially not a baby used as a prop. The only person who hasn't texted me? Brittany. Which somehow feels worse. Because if there's one thing I know about her, it's that silence doesn't mean regret. It means she's planning something. The graveside service was the next morning, cold and gray. The kind of sky that looks like it's pressing down on you. I got there early, mostly because I couldn't stand being in the house alone with Lauren's stuff. Her mug still in the sink, her cardigan over the back of the chair. I grabbed the cracked wedding photo from the church and brought it with me because I couldn't leave it there, wounded and alone. The funeral director, Alan, 50, male, met me by the tent. "We've set everything up how you requested," he said gently. Then he lowered his voice. "Your mother-in-law mentioned family tension?" "Yeah." My jaw clenched. "If Brittany tries to come near the tent, I want her escorted out. I don't care if she screams. I don't care if she cries. She is not standing next to me while they lower my wife into the ground." He nodded like this wasn't the craziest request he'd heard. "Understood." People started arriving in clumps. Diane and Mark came together, looking like they'd aged 10 years in 12 hours. Diane didn't hug me. She just said, "I still think you overreacted," like she was commenting on the weather, and walked past. Cool. The service started. The pastor said more words that didn't touch the raw, open part of me. I focused on Lauren's name on the temporary marker. It didn't feel real. A name in metal, like she'd been turned into an address. The sound of gravel crunching fast made my stomach drop. I didn't even have to turn around to know. Brittany's voice cut through the prayer. "I have a right to be here." I spun around. She was marching up in a tight dress and huge sunglasses, clutching something white in her hand. Diane actually whispered, "Oh, thank God," under her breath. Alan stepped in front of her. "Ma'am, I was instructed—" "I'm her sister," she screeched, trying to push past him. "And I'm carrying the first grandchild. You can't keep me from saying goodbye." She lifted the white thing. It was a tiny baby onesie, "Best Auntie Ever," printed on it in glitter letters. My stomach turned. "Brittany," I said, moving toward her. "Leave." She ignored me, eyes locked on the grave. "I'm putting this in with her, so she knows. So she can watch over my baby." She tried to dart around Alan. I grabbed the onesie out of her hand on instinct. She yanked back hard. The fabric ripped down the middle with an ugly tearing sound. She gasped like I'd actually ripped her skin. Then she lost it. "You monster!" Her voice went feral. She threw herself at me, hitting my chest with both fists. "You're trying to erase her. You're trying to erase me. You want my baby dead." Her nails caught my neck. I stumbled backward into one of the standing flower arrangements. It toppled, crashing into the metal frame over the grave. The whole setup shuddered. Someone screamed. Dirt spilled down one side of the open plot. Hands were suddenly on us. Alan, another guy from the funeral home, a cousin. They pulled her off me as she kicked and thrashed, shrieking, "He attacked me! He attacked a pregnant woman!" Everyone was staring. At me. At the torn onesie on the grass. At the gouges on my throat. Something inside me just shut. I looked at all of them and said, loud enough for the cemetery to hear, "If any of you choose her chaos over my wife's memory, stay the hell out of my life. Forever." No one answered. That night, my car got keyed. One long, jagged line down the driver's side. On the windshield, under the wipers, someone had left a brand new baby pacifier. The note taped to it said in neat handwriting, "Stop hurting the family. Think of the baby." I stared at it for a long time. Then I heard my own voice in my head, steady and cold. "She wants to make me the villain? Fine." I'd show all of them exactly who she really was. I didn't sleep after the pacifier incident. I just sat at the kitchen table with the note in front of me, the stupid rubber thing staring up like an accusation. Think of the baby. All I could think of was Lauren hooked up to machines and Brittany shrieking at her grave while dirt spilled like they were burying her twice. Everyone had decided I was the problem. Diane texted, "You escalated. She's fragile." "Stop attacking her," a cousin wrote. "You keyed your own car for attention, man." That one almost made me laugh. I remembered something, though. The little black dot on my neighbor's porch. Karen, 47, female, has a Ring camera and an HOA personality. I walked over at 7 a.m., eyes burning. She opened the door in a bathrobe. "Jake? Oh my God, honey, you look—" She stopped, swallowed. "What's wrong?" "Do you still have last night's camera footage?" I asked. "Someone vandalized my car." She pulled it up on her phone right there. We watched 11:42 p.m. appear in white numbers. Brittany, in an oversized hoodie and messy bun, waddling dramatically down my driveway like she was 9 months pregnant instead of barely showing. Keys in one hand, pacifier, and note in the other. She took her time dragging the key the full length of the car. Then she propped the pacifier under the wiper, smoothed the note, stepped back to admire her work and smirked. Karen looked at me, eyes wide. "Send that to yourself," she said, already hitting share. Later that day, my phone buzzed with a Facebook screenshot from a friend. Brittany had posted a sonogram photo. Trying to stay positive for this little miracle even though some people are physically attacking me and wishing ill on my pregnancy. Lauren is my angel. I know she's watching over us and ashamed of the hate in this family. Hundreds of likes. Little heart emojis from relatives who'd texted me fake condolences 2 days ago. Standing next to her in the picture was a guy I barely knew. Tyler, 30, male. Brittany's on and off boyfriend. He looked proud. He had no idea. That's when it clicked. She cared about two things: attention and image. Family, church ladies, social media, the fantasy of being the tragic pregnant heroine. So I was going to let her keep center stage, just change the script. A week later, I got an invite in my email. I'm pretty sure I wasn't supposed to see yet. Diane had made a Facebook event. Brittany and baby shower, a new blessing after tragedy. Someone added my email to the guest list. Maybe by accident. Maybe on purpose. Either way, I RSVP'd, going. I spent the next few days collecting things. Karen's ring video, a cousin's footage from the funeral, Brittany's, "At least one good thing is happening today," crystal clear. Another cousin had shaky phone video from the graveside meltdown. I stitched it all together into one brutal highlight reel. 15 minutes before I left for the shower, I burned it to a USB and labeled it in Sharpie. For Brittany, with love. The shower was at Diane and Mark's house. When I walked in, the air smelled like frosting and fake forgiveness. Pink and blue balloons everywhere. A big banner that said "New Beginnings." And front and center, on the mantle, a framed photo of Lauren, with a pastel baby ribbon tied around the corner. I almost walked out. Brittany spotted me and went rigid. "What is he doing here?" she hissed to Diane. "He wants to make peace," Diane said, giving me this tight, performative smile. "Right, Jake?" "Something like that," I said. Later, when everyone gathered in the living room for speeches, Brittany stood under the banner, one hand on her tiny bump, voice quivering as she talked about light after darkness and how Lauren is our guardian angel. People dabbed their eyes. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. When she finished, I stood up, holding the little USB and the remote to their big TV. "I brought a gift too," I said. "A video. Since we're all about memories and family today." Brittany's eyes narrowed. "Jake, don't." But I was already walking to the TV, hands weirdly steady. I plugged in the drive, selected the file, and turned back to the room. "If you all are going to talk about vibes and angels," I said, voice shaking but loud, "you should see the whole truth about your miracle." I hit play. The first thing that filled the screen was Brittany at the funeral, taking the mic, smiling that tight little smile. I'm pregnant." Then her turning to look straight at the camera, at me, and saying, "At least one good thing is happening today." The room went dead silent. Brittany lunged for the TV like she was going to physically tackle it. And that was when the real chaos started. Update 2. Right after the video, baby shower nuclear meltdown. Yeah, so remember when I said Brittany goes silent when she's planning something? She did not stay silent after the video. First, quick answers because a bunch of you asked. No, I did not warn anyone what was on the USB. Yes, I 100% intended for everyone to see it, including Tyler. No, I do not feel bad about it, at all. So I hit play, her "At least one good thing is happening today" comes booming out of their soundbar, and you could feel the whole room turn to ice. A couple people actually put their plates down mid-bite. Mark just stared at the TV like he was watching a stranger. Then it cuts to the graveside scene. Brittany swinging at me, screaming about me wanting her baby dead, scratching my neck while people pull her off. You can clearly see her break away and lunge again. Then the last clip, her keying my car, placing the pacifier, smirking. Someone whispered, "Oh my God," in that way that isn't admiration. Brittany lost her mind. She screamed my name like a war cry and tried to rip the USB out of the TV. When that didn't work, she grabbed the remote and threw it at me. Missed. Hit a shelf, shattered one of Diane's angel figurines. Glass everywhere, people yelling. Someone's kid started crying. Tyler just stood there staring at the screen, then at her, then at me. He looked sick. Diane went full mama bear on the wrong bear. She got in my face, actually shoved my shoulder and yelled, "How dare you humiliate my daughter like this? She's pregnant, Jake." I said, "Yeah, we've all heard," and pointed at the TV. "You wanted vibes and angels? That's your angel." Brittany started hyperventilating, dropped to her knees, clutching her stomach and screaming, "You're killing my baby! Someone call 911!" Like we were in a Lifetime movie. A couple of her friends rushed over, one already dialing. I walked out. I'm at a friend's place now because, as I was driving away, I started getting texts. From Diane. "Ambulance on the way, are you happy?" From a cousin. "They're saying you attacked her again." From an unknown number. I'm guessing one of Brittany's friends. If something happens to that baby, it's on you. For everyone asking if the revenge was worth it, I don't know yet. Everything is on fire, see? But for the first time since Lauren died, I feel like I did something for her instead of just letting Brittany rewrite the story. I'll tell you what happened with the ambulance, the cops, and the fallout next. It gets worse before it gets better. I was still scrolling through the texts, rereading the same lines until the words went blurry when there was a heavy knock at the door. My friend Eric, 35, male, looked over from the couch. "You expecting anyone?" My stomach dropped. "No." Another knock, sharper. "Police." Of course. Eric opened the door and stepped back. Two officers stood there, hands resting near their belts, that neutral cop face on. "Jacob?" one of them asked. I stood up, suddenly aware of the scratch scabs on my neck. "Yeah?" "I'm Officer Ramirez," he said. "This is Officer Collins. We got a report of an altercation at a family gathering. A pregnant woman was transported by ambulance. She says you assaulted her." The words landed like punches. There it is. There's the script she needed. Eric started to say something, but I cut in. "I didn't touch her, and I have video." Their eyebrows went up a notch. "Can we talk inside?" We sat at Eric's tiny kitchen table, the same place I'd just been reading hate texts. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands, opened the album I'd made. "This is going to look like a documentary about the worst week of my life," I said. "But you need the full thing." I started with the ring footage. Brittany in the hoodie, keying my car, leaving the pacifier, smirking. Ramirez watched, jaw tensing. Then the funeral clip. Her bright, chirpy, "I'm pregnant," then the line that made my skin crawl. "At least one good thing is happening today." Collins actually winced. Graveside video next. Brittany swinging at me, scratching my neck, screaming about me wanting her baby dead while people pulled her back. Her pushing past the funeral staff, the toppled flowers, the spilled dirt. Finally, the start of the shower video. Her speech about angels and light, the way everyone fawned over it. I stopped it before the full meltdown. "There's more," I said. Her throwing things today, dropping to her knees, screaming that I was killing her baby. But you get the idea. Ramirez was quiet for a long second. "Do you mind if we airdrop those to our department phone?" "Take all of it," I said. "Please." He nodded and started the transfer. The complainant says she experienced severe emotional distress and abdominal pain after you launched a targeted harassment campaign against her. So, I pressed play on her own behavior, I said. "If that's a crime, lock me up." Collins almost smiled, then caught himself. "We still have to follow up. Did you make physical contact with her today?" She threw the remote. I moved out of the way. She hit a shelf, not me. I walked out. I swallowed. I didn't even slam the door. Ramirez's radio crackled. He listened, then glanced at me. "The hospital just updated dispatch. The fetus is fine, vitals normal. They're discharging her with instructions to reduce stress, of course." He stood. "Given the video evidence, we're not placing you under arrest tonight, but I'd strongly suggest you get a lawyer and consider a protective order. This looks volatile." After they left, my phone rang again. Tyler. I stared at his name for a second before answering. His voice was flat. "Hey man, I just left the hospital." "How is she?" I forced out. "Baby is fine," he said. "She's already posting hospital wristband selfies." A bitter laugh. "Listen, I saw everything you played. And then I saw more. He hesitated, then dropped it. Brittany forgot her phone was still recording when she started bragging to her friend about Oscar-level crying and how everyone's gonna hate you now. My heart started pounding again, but for the first time in days, there was a sharp, clean edge to it. Tyler exhaled. If you want to really be done with her, Jake, I think I can help. Tyler and I met the next morning in a half-empty diner that smelled like burnt coffee and syrup. I hadn't really slept. I was running on adrenaline and spite. He looked wrecked. Dark circles, same shirt from the hospital, hands shaking around his mug. I'm sorry about Lauren, he said first. I should have said that earlier. She was actually kind to me. That almost undid me more than anything. He set his phone on the table. I'm not going to waste your time. Listen. He hit play. Brittany's voice came out tinny but crystal clear. Oh my God, did you see them? They looked like I died, she giggled. I swear I missed my calling in Hollywood. I went full endangered pregnant saint. Jake's never going to recover from this. Everyone hates him now. A second voice, her friend, snorted. You really think the cops will do anything? Oh, they're already on his ass, Brittany said. I scratched him on purpose at the grave, remember? So I'd have evidence. And now with the hospital wristband, if anything happens, it's on him. Emotionally, legally, spiritually, she cackled. I'm untouchable. Pregnant privilege, babe. There was more. Her bragging about timing the funeral announcement so no one could be mad. Her saying, if Lauren wanted her day to herself, she should have picked a different time to die. I had to put my hands under my thighs to keep from shaking. Tyler stopped the audio. The diner noise rushed back in. Forks, plates, someone's kid laughing in a booth. I confronted her, he said quietly. She said she's just venting and that you deserve it for not making her the main focus. He swallowed. I'm done. I'll co-parent if she lets me, but I'm not signing up to be her audience. Why are you helping me? I asked. It wasn't accusatory. I was just tired. Because she used your wife's death as a prop, he said. And because if she'll do this to you, she'll do worse to that kid. People need to see who they're enabling. His plan was simple and cruel in the cleanest way. No screaming matches, no more scenes, just the truth, everywhere. He helped me compile everything into one folder. Funeral clip, graveside meltdown, ring footage, hospital brag audio. Then he did the part I couldn't stomach. He sent it to Diane and Mark, to the pastor who'd hosted the funeral and was already planning some healing service, to the entire family group email, to a couple of Brittany's friends who'd been backing her up online with Protect the Mama posts. The subject line was his too. This is the woman you're defending. The fallout was immediate. Diane called me, sobbing so hard I almost didn't recognize her. Jake, I didn't know. She told me you... Her voice cracked. I'm so sorry for all of it. Mark sent a single line by text. I failed Lauren. I'm trying not to fail you too. Whatever you need to cut contact, say it. Brittany, on the other hand, went nuclear. She showed up at my house that evening, pounding on the door so hard the frame shook. I watched her on the porch camera from my phone, hair wild, mascara streaked, waving a printed copy of the protective order my lawyer had rushed through that afternoon. You think this piece of paper can stop me? She screamed at the door. Everyone's going to forget your dead wife and remember you as the abusive psycho. The cops pulled up mid-rant. Ramirez again. They served her the order properly, warned her about violating it. She tried to shove past them toward the door and ended up in handcuffs on my porch, kicking and yelling about how pregnant women shouldn't be arrested. Karen filmed the whole thing from across the street. I didn't ask her to post it. She did anyway. It didn't ruin Brittany's life. She still has her job, her baby shower gifts, people who make excuses for her. But the automatic sympathy dried up. The church ladies stopped commenting hearts on her angel watching over us posts. A couple of her flying monkeys sent me quiet, guilty apologies. As for me, I changed my number, blocked every relative who'd told me I was ruining the vibe. Sent one final message to Diane and Mark. I don't hate you, but I need a life that isn't built around managing Brittany. If you ever want to visit Lauren's grave quietly, I'm there every Sunday morning. No drama, no her. Then I took the cracked wedding photo, the one Brittany had indirectly smashed, and had it reframed. I kept the broken glass pattern. It runs like lightning across Lauren's smile. It's ruined and still beautiful. Like my life, I guess. But at least now the cracks are honest.